My wife and her friend set me up to get arrested as a prank. Let's see if you can talk your way out of this. They laughed. I never went back. Years later, she found out I was a judge. Ever have one of those moments that change your entire life in an instant? Not the kind you see, coming the kind that blindsides you, so hard it feels like the universe is playing some cruel joke. That was me. It was supposed to be a normal night. I had spent the entire day buried in legal documents, barely glancing at my phone. Erica, my wife, had sent a few texts something about a girl's night out. I hadn't replied, not because I didn't care, but because my brain was fried. For the past 3 years, I had been clawing my way up the corporate law firm ladder, and the case I was working on was huge, the kind that could catapult my career to places I never thought possible. By the time I finally looked at the clock, it was past midnight. I sighed, grabbed my keys, and headed home. I should have known something was wrong the second I pulled into the driveway. The house was too quiet. Erica wasn't the type to come home early from a night out, but something felt off. I could feel it the way the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. Then came the flashing lights. Red and blue sliced through the darkness like knives. At first, I thought there had been an accident nearby until I saw them. 4 cops standing in my driveway. Jackson Monroe, one of them called out as I stepped out of my car. I frowned. Yeah, turn around. Hands where we can see them. I let out a half laugh, assuming for a split second this had to be some kind of mistake. I'm a lawyer, for God's sake. I know my rights. Wait, hold on. I started to raise my hand slightly, still trying to process what the hell was happening. What's this about? No answer. Another officer moved in, yanking my hands behind my back. Cold metal snapped around my wrists, handcuffs. Real ones. What the hell is going on? My voice rose as panic settled in. I tried to turn my head, but they were already patting me down, shoving me forward. I'm a lawyer. You can't just. Jackson Monroe, you're under arrest for fraud and identity theft. You have the right to remain silent. Fraud? Identity theft? I let out a breathless laugh. You've got the wrong guy. I'm a corporate attorney. This is insane. Then I heard it. Laughter. Not from the cops. Not from me. From her. I turned just in time to see Erica and her friends huddled together on the porch, wine glasses in hand, cackling like this was some sort of comedy special. Oh my God, you should see your face. Erica howled, doubling over. Priceless. Absolutely priceless. I went still. You? I exhaled, trying to process what I was seeing. Erica, what the hell is this? She wiped at her eyes, breathless from laughing. It's just a prank, baby. Her friends clapped and cheered. One of them even had the audacity to pull out their phone and start recording. You're a lawyer, right? Maya, Erica's childhood best friend, giggled. Let's see if you can talk your way out of this one. The cops weren't in on the joke, that much was clear. They were dead serious. One was already reading me my rights, while another reached for something, a warrant. My mind spun. Erica, I said, my voice low, deadly calm. Tell them it's a joke. She waved a dismissive hand. Relax, Jackson. I'll clear it up in the morning. You'll be back before breakfast. That was when I realized she didn't get it. She had no idea what she had just done. This wasn't some harmless prank where you jump out from behind a door with a camera. This wasn't a silly scare. This was a felony. She had given false evidence to the police enough to get me arrested. And these cops? They weren't acting. They weren't laughing. They were just doing their job. My heart slammed against my ribs as they shoved me into the back of the squad car. I looked at Erica one last time through the window. She was still smiling, still laughing. I wasn't, because I knew something she didn't. She had just ruined her entire life. You know that moment when everything slows down? When reality hits so hard your mind refuses to process it. That was me. Sitting in the back of that police car, hands cuffed behind my back, the flashing red and blue lights streaking across the night sky. Erica was still laughing. She actually thought this was funny. The officers didn't. They were stone-faced, professional, treating me like any other suspect they'd ever arrested. As we pulled out of the driveway, I kept my eyes locked on Erica. I needed her to see me, to understand what she had done. She didn't. She had no clue. That was the last time she ever saw me. The cold reality of a joke. Jail isn't like the movies. There's no dramatic moment where you stand up and shout about your innocence while the officers suddenly realize they made a mistake. No. It's a long, humiliating, degrading process. I was fingerprinted, photographed, thrown into a holding cell with men who had actually committed crimes. A drunk in the corner mumbled to himself, laughing at nothing. A guy with a split lip paced like a caged animal. Another man, covered in tattoos, sat against the far wall, watching me, studying me. I sat perfectly still, staring straight ahead, my mind racing. Erica would clear things up. She had to. Once she sobered up, she'd go down to the station and tell them it was a prank. Right? Hours passed. Nothing. No one came for me. Finally, I got my one phone call. Of course, I called her. The phone rang, and rang, and rang. No answer. I called again. Voicemail. She didn't pick up. She left me there. That was when I stopped waiting for her to fix it. That was when I stopped trusting her. By the time my lawyer arrived, I'd already made up my mind. He was furious. I had worked with him before, and the moment he walked in, his face twisted with anger. Jackson, he exhaled, shaking his head. Tell me this is a joke. I let out a dry, humorless laugh. That's the funny part, isn't it? It was supposed to be. He rubbed a hand down his face. Your wife and her friends gave false statements. The police took it seriously because they handed over fabricated bank statements and fraudulent emails in your name. My jaw clenched. She had gone that far. My own wife had planted fake evidence against me. Will she face charges? I asked, my voice tight. He sighed. If you press charges, then yes. But Jackson, let's be real, you don't want to go down that road. This whole thing is going to blow over when she comes to her senses. Let's just get you out, and then you too can, I don't know, talk it out. I stared at him. Talk it out? Like this was some petty argument over dinner? No. There would be no talking this out. There would be no coming back from this. Erica had destroyed something in me, not just my trust, not just our marriage. She had destroyed the life I had built. And I was going to do the same to hers. I made the first call as soon as I got out. Not to Erica. Not to her friends. To a private investigator. You want to disappear? The voice on the other end was calm, professional. Yes, I said without hesitation. Completely. They didn't ask questions. Their kind never did. Within 24 hours, my bank accounts were emptied. Every social media profile deleted. My name wiped from every database that wasn't government mandated. Then came the final step. I resigned from my law firm. Not in person. I sent an email cold, impersonal, no explanation. Then I bought a one-way ticket out of town. Erica didn't even realize I was gone until days later. Erica's panic. I could picture it vividly. Erica waking up hungover, expecting me to storm into the house furious. Expecting a fight. Expecting an argument. Instead, silence. No calls. No texts. No angry confrontation. Just nothing. At first, she probably brushed it off. Maybe she thought I was giving her the silent treatment. But then she must have started looking. The firm, he resigned. Didn't say why. His friends, we haven't heard from him. His family, no idea where he is. His bank account closed. I imagined the panic creeping in when she realized I was actually gone. No trace. No clues. No way to find me. The husband she thought would always come back never did. For the first time in years, I felt free. No toxic marriage. No dead-end job. No fake friends. Just me. Starting over. Reinventing myself. I left behind the name Jackson Monroe and became someone else. Erica would spend years looking for me. She would beg. She would cry. She would swear she was sorry. But by the time she finally found me again, I would be sitting on the judge's bench. And she would be the one on trial. You ever wonder what it feels like to be erased? To wake up one morning and realize that someone who was supposed to be permanent in your life just vanishes? Erica never thought it would happen to her. She thought I'd come back. She thought I'd forgive her. She thought that no matter what, Jackson Monroe would always be her husband. She was wrong. And the moment she opened that envelope, the one that arrived on her doorstep with no return address, no warning, she knew she had lost me forever. The first year without me, Erica searched. She called my old firm. She went to my family and my friends. She tried tracking my bank accounts, convinced I must have been hiding somewhere nearby. But I had left nothing behind. I was a ghost. At first, she must have told herself stories to make sense of it. Maybe he's just mad. Maybe he needs time. But as weeks turned into months, the excuses dried up. Then the panic set in. Because she didn't just lose her husband. She lost her safety net. The expensive house, foreclosed. The lifestyle, gone. The friends who used to laugh at my expense, they didn't stick around when she had nothing left to offer. And then came the shame. She had been so certain I would crawl back, that I would forgive her, that I would sit down and talk it out like some spineless fool who didn't know when he was being played. Instead, I did the one thing she never expected. I disappeared so completely, I became a myth. It was a cold morning when it happened. By then, Erica was living in a small apartment, a far cry from the luxury she once flaunted. No doorman, no fancy security system, just a cramped space with a single window overlooking an alleyway. She was barely surviving. And then the envelope appeared on her doorstep. Plain white, no postage stamp. Someone had delivered it by hand. Her hand shook as she picked it up. The weight of it, the finality of it. She knew before she even opened it. She knew it was from me. And she knew it wasn't good. Inside, there was no apology, no long-winded explanation, just a single-page document. A divorce decree. Finalized. Signed. The name at the bottom. Jackson Monroe. Erica read it once, twice, a third time. Her breath quickened. The walls closed in. This wasn't possible. Divorces took months, years. They required paperwork, court hearings, mediation. But this had already been settled. It was already done. She wasn't even given a chance to contest it. I had made sure of that. The thing about Erica, she always thought she was in control. She thought she could play with people's lives, bend them to her will, and then fix things when they got messy. But when she saw my signature on that paper, something inside her shattered. The man she had once laughed at, the one she had humiliated, set up, tossed aside, had managed to do something she never expected. He had walked away first, and never looked back. Erica did the only thing she could do. She tried to fight it. She went to every courthouse, trying to understand how the divorce had been processed without her knowledge. She called every lawyer she knew, desperate to challenge it. But my tracks were covered. The law firm that handled it, discreet, untouchable. My legal name, changed. My accounts, wiped clean. I didn't just divorce Erica. I erased myself from her world. And she couldn't handle it. The moment she realized she had lost, Erica returned to her apartment that night exhausted, defeated. She sat on her couch, staring at the divorce decree in her hands. And then she did something she hadn't done in years. She cried. Not the fake kind she used to use to get her way. Not the manipulative tears she shed when she wanted something. No, this was real. Because for the first time in her life, she had lost control. And worse, she had lost to me. Erica would spend years regretting that night. She would tell herself it was just a prank, just a joke that went too far. She would convince herself that if she had just called me that morning, everything would have been fine. But it wouldn't have, because I'd already decided to leave long before she set me up. She just gave me the excuse I needed. And by the time she found me again, I would be untouchable. Ever watch something collapse in slow motion? A bridge breaking apart one steel beam at a time. A house crumbling from the foundation, brick by brick. That's what happened to Erica's life. She didn't lose everything all at once. No, that would have been too easy. Instead, she lost it in pieces, each one cutting deeper, each one making her realize just how much she had taken for granted. And me? I wasn't there to see it. But I knew, because I had made sure of it. Erica always believed she was the queen of social circles. She had friends in high places, connections that made her feel untouchable. But those same people, they were never really her friends. They were mine. The business dinners, the charity events, the high-class soirees. We went because of me. And when I disappeared, the invitations stopped coming. At first, she tried to pretend nothing had changed. She showed up at gatherings, forcing smiles, laughing at jokes that weren't funny. But the whispers started. People looked at her differently, some with pity, others with amusement. Because they all knew. Everyone knew. Erica's husband had walked out and left her with nothing. And in those circles, weakness is social suicide. One by one, the people she once called friends drifted away. Unanswered texts, ignored calls, until, eventually, Erica wasn't invited anywhere at all. Erica loved money, not just having it, spending it. The designer clothes, the luxury vacations, the overpriced wine. That was her life. She thought it would never end. But here's the thing about wealth. It doesn't last when you don't know how to earn it. Erica had never worked a day in her life, and now she had no access to my money, because I had made sure of it. The joint accounts, emptied before I left. The credit cards, canceled. The house, tied to a mortgage she couldn't afford alone. At first, she refused to believe it. She spent money like nothing had changed, convinced I'd come back eventually. But then the bills started piling up. When the landlord called about missed payments. When she realized she couldn't even afford her weekly spa appointments. Reality hit Erica like a freight train. She had no idea how to survive without me. The house was the last thing to go. Our home. The one she used to flaunt to her friends. The one she loved to show off during parties. She tried to keep it. She fought for it. But the math was simple. No money equals no house. At first, she tried to hold on to some illusion of class, renting a small condo in a nice neighborhood. But it didn't last. Because the truth was, Erica had never been self-sufficient. She didn't know how to budget. She didn't know how to work. And when the money ran out completely, she had to move again. This time, into a tiny apartment. Peeling paint. Neighbors who didn't care who she used to be. Erica. Working. The thought was almost funny. She had spent years looking down on people with 9-to-5 jobs, mocking the idea of settling for a regular paycheck. But now she needed one. Her first job was at a boutique clothing store. Nothing fancy, just folding clothes, restocking shelves. She hated it. The customers treated her like nothing. Her boss didn't care about her sob story. She wasn't Erica Monroe, the glamorous wife of a lawyer. She was just another employee. And the worst part? She wasn't good at it. She showed up late, refused to listen to instructions, still carried herself like she was better than everyone else. And after a few months, she was fired. One job after another, the pattern repeated. She couldn't hold on to anything. She wasn't built for this life, but it was the only life she had left. Erica had always been surrounded by people. Even when she wasn't happy, there was someone to talk to, someone to impress. But now, she was alone. The friends were gone. The new social circles she tried to force her way into rejected her because no one wants to be around a fallen queen. And that loneliness crept in like a disease. At first, she tried to distract herself. She went on meaningless dates, hoping some rich man would sweep her away from her miserable life. But they saw through her desperation. She wasn't the prize anymore. She was a warning, a reminder of what happens when you lose everything. And as the years passed, Erica stopped trying. She accepted her fate, stopped checking her phone for messages that would never come, stopped looking at old pictures of a life she could never get back, stopped hoping. She had nothing, and for the first time in her life, she understood what it felt like to be discarded. Then the invitation arrived. Erica had spent years drowning in her own failures, years trying to claw her way back up, only to be knocked down again. But one night, while sitting in her tiny apartment, something arrived in the mail. A golden envelope. Elegant. Expensive. She frowned, flipping it over, scanning the sender. And then her heart stopped, because the name on the invitation was Judge Jackson Monroe. What comes next? Erica thought she had suffered enough, thought her punishment was over. She was wrong, because this invitation, it wasn't an olive branch. It was a trap. And soon she would walk right into it. I'd often wondered how long it would take for Erica to break completely. 3 years? 5? Decade? But she crumbled much sooner than I expected. She thought she had lost everything. Her money, her friends, her comfort. She was wrong, because what she had lost wasn't enough. Not yet. It was a cold winter night when the envelope arrived at her door. By then, Erica had been living in survival mode for years. She had stopped expecting good things. So when she found the golden envelope in her mailbox, she almost threw it away. It was too nice, too expensive, too far removed from the life she lived now. But something about it felt important. So she opened it. And when she saw my name inside, Judge Jackson Monroe, her blood ran cold. For years, she had searched for me. For years, she had tried to find out what had happened. And no, I had found her. The invitation was to a gala. Not just any gala. A prestigious, high-profile legal event, filled with powerful people. The kind of people Erica used to surround herself with. The kind of people she had fallen away from. She almost didn't go. Almost. But curiosity is a funny thing. She told herself she needed closure. That she needed to see me in person. To hear the truth from my lips. So she pulled together the last bit of dignity she had left. Bought a second-hand designer dress, and walked into that event like she still belonged. She had no idea what was coming. I was already watching her when she stepped inside. She looked different. Not just older. Smaller. Like she had been hollowed out from the inside. The woman who once radiated arrogance now moved like a ghost of herself. Afraid of her own shadow. Good. She deserved to feel every ounce of that emptiness. And then, finally, our eyes met. Her breath caught. For a split second, something flickered across her face. Shock. Regret. Maybe even hope. But she didn't know. She didn't realize that tonight was not about reconciliation. It was about her final undoing. Her public humiliation. Erica didn't approach me right away. She lingered, pretending to mingle. But I could feel her eyes on me the entire time. I let her wait. I let her stew. Then, as the event reached its peak, the host took the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we honor one of the brightest legal minds of our generation. A man who has not only redefined justice, but has overcome unimaginable betrayal and hardship to reach the highest level of law. Please welcome Judge Jackson Monroe. The clapping was really loud. Erica froze. Because those words, unimaginable betrayal, they weren't just a coincidence. They were a warning. I took the stage, adjusted the microphone, let my gaze linger on her before I spoke. I wasn't always a judge. I began, my voice smooth, controlled. Once upon a time, I was a fool. A man who believed in love. A man who trusted the wrong person. The crowd leaned in, eager for the drama. Erica went pale. And then one night, I continued, my voice darkening. That person betrayed me in the worst way possible. They humiliated me, set me up, laughed as I was taken away in handcuffs. Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. Erica staggered backward. She knew. Everyone in that room knew. She had just become the punchline of my victory speech. And the best part, no one even knew her name. She was irrelevant. Just another face in the crowd. And I had one. Erica didn't leave right away. She hovered, lurking, waiting for an opening. And when the night was nearly over, she finally got what she wanted. A moment alone with me. I let her have it, because I wanted to see just how broken she had become. She reached for my hand like I was still the man she had married. Jackson, she whispered, her voice shaking. I don't even know what to say. I raised an eyebrow. You don't? She swallowed hard. I was stupid. I was selfish. I never meant for things to go that far. You have to believe me. I let out a quiet chuckle. Believe you? I echoed, tilting my head. Erica flinched. I stepped closer, watching her breathing quicken. I gave you a life most people dream of, I murmured, my voice calm. And you destroyed it. You laughed while you did it. And you thought I'd come back? Tears welled in her eyes. I thought I was young and reckless, she admitted, her voice cracking. I thought you would. Forgive you? I finished for her. She nodded. I leaned in just enough to watch her tremble. And then I whispered the words that shattered whatever was left of her. Erica, I don't forgive you. I saw it happen. The moment the last bit of hope drained from her eyes. The realization that I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't holding a grudge. I was simply done. And that was worse than any revenge she had imagined. I turned away. Without another word. Without looking back. Erica stood there speechless for the first time in her life. And that was the last time I ever saw her. Because Erica was already gone. She just hadn't realized it yet. I thought watching Erica crumble would be enough. I thought seeing her fall from grace. Seeing her face twist with regret. Hearing her voice shake as she begged for forgiveness. I thought it would satisfy me. But it didn't. Because she wasn't the only one who played a part in my downfall. Her friends. The women who plotted with her. The ones who stood on that porch that night, wine glasses in hand, laughing as I was shoved into a police car like a common criminal. They weren't innocent. They were co-conspirators. And no, they were next. The best revenge isn't loud. It isn't messy. It isn't some outburst of rage where you throw a punch and call it justice. No, the best revenge is slow. Strategic. It's watching your enemies live their lives peacefully, and then destroying them, piece by piece. And so that's exactly what I did. For months, I watched them. From a distance. Maya, Jessie, Erin. The three women who had helped Erica humiliate me. The three women who had encouraged her, egged her on, filmed me as I was arrested. I needed to know who they were now. What they valued. What they couldn't afford to lose. And once I figured it out, I took it from them. Maya was the ringleader, Erica's closest friend, the one who thought she was untouchable. Now she was a corporate executive CEO of a thriving company. She loved power, thrived on it, built her career on a mountain of secrets. So I exposed them. Not all at once. That would have been too easy. No, I leaked one piece of dirt at a time. A financial scandal here, a fraudulent business deal there, a whisper in the right ear. Until suddenly, her perfect reputation cracked. At first, she thought she could contain it. That's what powerful people do, right? They control the damage. But the damage kept coming, because I made sure of it. Until one day, she walked into her office to find a boardroom full of executives staring at her coldly. And just like that, she was voted out, her empire gone. And the worst part, she had no idea who did it. Jessie had always been the social butterfly, the influencer, the woman who built her entire existence around the illusion of perfection. The lavish vacations, the picture-perfect relationship with her fiancé, the carefully curated life that made other women jealous. But here's the thing about illusions. They're fragile, and all it takes is one crack for everything to break. So I found her weakest link, her fiancé, a wealthy, well-connected man who worshipped the ground she walked on, a man who had no idea that while he was planning their wedding, Jessie was sleeping with his best friend. I made sure he found out, not by telling him. That would have been too obvious. No, I made sure he walked in on them himself. A well-timed phone call, a perfectly orchestrated moment. And just like that, Jessie's perfect life was over. Her fiancé left her. Her sponsors dropped her. Her followers turned against her. And she became the thing she feared most. Irrelevant. Erin was different from the others. She wasn't powerful like Maya. She wasn't famous like Jessie. She was just comfortable. A small-town girl who had married well. She had a husband, a family, stability. And that's exactly what I took from her. Because, you see, Erin had secrets too. A past she had buried. A child she had given up for adoption, pretending it never happened. She thought no one knew. But I found out, and I found him. Her son, a grown man now, looking for answers. And I gave them to him. I told him everything. And then I sent him to her doorstep. And when her husband found out that she had lied to him, that she had kept something this big from him, the marriage crumbled. Erin lost everything. And me? I never even had to touch her. I never took credit for what happened. Not directly. I let them suffer in silence, wondering who had orchestrated their downfall. But I did leave them one thing. A simple, anonymous message. 3 words. Talk your way out of this. It was the same thing they had mocked me with. The same words they had laughed about the night they set me up. And when they read them, they knew. This wasn't karma. It wasn't bad luck. It was me. And that was the greatest punishment of all. Because I didn't just ruin their lives. I made sure they knew exactly why it happened. And they couldn't do a damn thing about it. Erica thought it was over. She believed that after losing everything, her friends, her money, her dignity, she had already paid the price for what she did to me. She was wrong. Because true punishment isn't just about taking things away. It's about making sure the person feels the loss. Forever. I had stripped Erica of everything. Now, it was time to give her something in return. Something she would never recover from. It started a trap with a job offer. Erica had been struggling for years, bouncing between meaningless jobs, barely surviving. She was desperate. So when an opportunity landed in her inbox, offering her a position at a prestigious law firm as an executive assistant, she didn't question it. She just grabbed it. Like a drowning woman clinging to a rope. She didn't realize the rope was a noose. Her first day, Erica arrived early, eager to impress. She dressed the part, trying to recapture the woman she used to be. Back when she had power. Back when she was somebody. She was ushered into a conference room where the senior partners were waiting. And then, the doors swung open. And I walked in. Her boss. Her new judge. Her executioner. The look on her face. I will never forget it. The way her entire body went still. The way her breath caught in her throat. The way her fingers tightened around the portfolio she was holding like it was the only thing keeping her upright. She opened her mouth probably to stammer out some pathetic excuse. But I didn't give her the chance. I smiled. And then I said 2 words. Welcome aboard. And just like that, Erica was mine. I made her life a living hell. Not in obvious ways that would have been too easy. No, Erica's punishment had to be slow, subtle, the kind of suffering that seeps into your bones until it becomes unbearable. I gave her impossible tasks, made her redo projects at the last second, scheduled meetings for her at 5 a.m. knowing she couldn't afford a car and had to take the bus. In public, I ignored her. But in private, I made sure she knew I was watching. I never raised my voice, never insulted her, never acted unprofessional. But every day, I chipped away at whatever pride she had left, until there was nothing. It took 6 months. 6 months of Erica swallowing her pride, walking into the office every day with her head down, avoiding my gaze. 6 months of pretending she could handle it. And then, one evening, when the office was nearly empty, she knocked on my door. I let her in. She stood there, shifting from foot to foot, her hands wringing together like she was trying to hold herself together. Then, in a whisper, "Please." I leaned back in my chair. "Please what?" Her throat bobbed as she swallowed. Eyes glassy, voice barely above a whisper. I didn't respond. I just stared at her and waited. Waited for her to say it out loud. Because Erica had spent her entire life believing she was untouchable. She had spent years convincing herself she was a victim, that I was cruel for not forgiving her. But now she knew the truth. She wasn't being punished because I was heartless. She was being punished because she deserved it. And finally she broke. Tears slid down her cheeks as she whispered the words I had waited years to hear. "I'm sorry." I tilted my head. "For what?" Her breath hitched. "For what I did to you," she said, voice cracking. "For that night. For setting you up. For everything." I let the silence stretch between us. Then I stood up, walked over to her, leaned down until we were eye to eye, and I whispered back, "Not good enough." Erica left my office that night shattered. But she still had one last punishment left to endure. Because 2 weeks later, she walked into the office and found a letter on her desk. Her termination notice. Fired. No explanation. No warning. Because that's what she did to me. And now she was truly, completely, irreversibly alone. I had taken everything from her. And this time, there was no one left to save her. Erica thought she knew pain. She thought she understood regret. But soon, she was about to learn what Rayal's suffering felt like. Because I wasn't the only one she had wronged. And no, she wasn't just my problem anymore. For years, I had imagined this moment. Erica broken, alone, discarded. I had spent years crafting her downfall, taking her apart piece by piece. And when I finally walked away, I expected satisfaction. But instead, all I felt was emptiness. Because there was one last decision left to make. And it would determine whether I truly ended this, or if I let Erica suffer for the rest of her life. After I fired her, Erica disappeared from my world completely. No texts, no emails, no desperate calls. It was as if she had finally accepted defeat. And for a while, I didn't think about her. I moved on, built a life without her shadow looming over me. But then one day, a mutual acquaintance mentioned something that made me pause. "She's not doing well," they said. "I heard she's homeless." I laughed at first. It sounded impossible. Erica Monroe, once the queen of high society, the woman who used to mock anyone beneath her, now sleeping on the streets? But then, I did something I hadn't done in years. I looked for her. And when I finally found her, I almost didn't recognize her. It was raining that night. Cold. Miserable. I walked down a narrow alley in the city, one of those places people pretend not to notice. And there she was, sitting on a bench, a thin, tattered coat wrapped around her shoulders. Her once perfect hair hung in messy knots. Her once radiant skin was pale and sickly. And when she lifted her eyes and saw me standing there, she flinched, as if even now, she expected me to hurt her more. I didn't say anything at first. I just watched, because for the first time in my life, I didn't feel rage. I didn't feel vengeful. I just felt tired. And then, Erica whispered something I didn't expect. "You won." Her voice was rough, like she hadn't spoken in days. She didn't sound angry. She didn't sound bitter. She just sounded empty. "You destroyed me," she murmured. "And I deserved it." Then she laughed. A hollow, broken laugh. "But what now, Jackson? What do you do? When the person you wanted to punish is already dead inside?" I didn't answer because I didn't know the crossroad. That night, I lay awake, thinking, thinking about everything she had done to me, thinking about everything I had done to her. Was this what I wanted? Had I really spent all these years just to turn her into this? A woman who had nothing. A woman who wasn't even worth hating anymore. And that's when I realized I had a choice to make. I could leave her there, let her fade into nothing, or I could do something else, something I never thought I would. I found Erica the next morning, still on that same bench. She looked at me, eyes dull, as if she was already bracing herself for whatever I had planned next. But instead of mocking her, instead of walking away, I sat down beside her. She stiffened. "You don't have to do this," she muttered. "If you came to gloat, just get it over with." I shook my head. "I'm not here to gloat." Erica frowned, confused. For the first time since this war began, I saw something I hadn't seen before. Not defiance, not anger. Fear. Not fear of me. Fear of the unknown. Fear of what I was about to say. And so I asked her the question that had been haunting me. "What do you want, Erica?" She blinked. "What?" I repeated myself. "What do you want?" She let out a dry, bitter laugh. "What does it matter?" She whispered. "It's not like I get to have things anymore." I didn't let her avoid it. "Answer the question." Erica hesitated. Then, in a voice so small, I almost didn't hear it. "I just want to stop hurting." I exhaled, staring at the rain-soaked pavement. And then, I made my decision. I reached into my coat and pulled out an envelope. Erica eyed it warily. I placed it on the bench beside her. "What is this?" she asked, voice cautious. "A choice," I said simply. She swallowed. Slowly, she reached for it, opening it with trembling fingers. Inside was a one-way plane ticket. And a check. A large one. Enough to start over. Erica stared at it like it was poison. Her breathing grew unsteady. "Why?" she whispered. Because this wasn't what she expected. She expected me to laugh in her face, to tell her she deserved to rot. Not this. Not mercy. I stood up, tucking my hands into my coat. Then I said the words that ended it all. "You don't deserve forgiveness." Erica flinched. "But I deserve peace." She looked up at me, eyes wide, stunned. And for the first time in years, I saw something in her face I hadn't seen since before that night. Hope. Not hope for a second chance with me. Not hope for a return to her old life. But hope that maybe she still had time to become someone else. She didn't say anything as I turned and walked away. She didn't need to. Because this time, I wasn't taking anything from her. I was giving her one last chance. And what she did with it, that was her decision, not mine. Erica had one final opportunity to start over. One last shot at becoming someone new. And as for me, it was time to stop looking backward. Because for the first time in years, I was finally free. I never looked back. Not when I walked away from Erica that day. Not when I boarded my flight the next morning, leaving behind the city I once called home. Not even when I heard whispers months later that Erica had disappeared completely. Some said she had taken the money and left the country. Others claimed she never even cashed the check, just vanished, swallowed by the world as if she had never existed. But the truth? I didn't care. Because for the first time in my life, Erica Monroe wasn't my problem anymore. Starting over wasn't easy. For years, revenge had consumed me. Every step I took, every move I made, had been meticulously planned to bring Erica to her knees. But now she was gone. And for the first time in years, I had to ask myself a question that had haunted me since the night she betrayed me. Who am I if I'm not the man seeking revenge? The answer didn't come right away. At first, I buried myself in my work. Long hours in court, building my reputation as one of the most formidable judges in the country. I told myself that was enough. That power was what I had been chasing all along. That I didn't need anything else. But the truth? The truth was, revenge leaves a void. And when you fill your entire life with it, you don't know what to do when it's gone. The letter. I never expected it. It arrived on a quiet afternoon, a simple unmarked envelope left on my desk. At first, I assumed it was just another case file, another request from a lawyer looking for a favor. But when I opened it, I froze. Because inside was a single handwritten note. No signature. No explanation. Just 6 words that sent a chill through my body. I made my decision. Thank you. I stared at it for a long time. No name. No address. No indication of where it had come from. But I didn't need one. I knew Erica. She had finally made her choice. Did she take the money? I never found out. I never tried to. Because in the end, Erica's fate was never the point. I didn't need to know where she went. I didn't need to know if she had used the money to start over, or if she had burned it as some kind of twisted penance. All I needed to know was that she was gone. And for the first time in years, I felt lighter. Not because I had won, not because I had broken her, but because I had finally let go. The true cost of revenge. People think revenge is satisfying, that it brings closure. But the truth is, revenge is just another kind of prison. For years, I told myself that making Erica suffer would make me whole again. That if I tore her down the way she tore me down, I would finally be at peace. But standing there, holding that letter in my hands, I realized something I had never admitted before. I had wasted so much time hating her, so much time planning her downfall. And for what? She had already been gone long before I ever set my revenge in motion. The woman I had loved, the one I had built a life with, she ceased to exist the night she betrayed me. The Erica I had spent years destroying, she was just a ghost. And me? I had been chasing shadows. Dear listeners, if you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss future updates.